really worked on many of them, sort of mechanicals. Just nearly been wiped out there by a lady in a Kia Picanto. My knees, my knees. Oh God. I was lying on a beach the other day. Evening all, welcome back to the Car UK channel. Right, today's video, what are we talking about? Well, we're going to have a look at a vehicle that I bought online. Now, it's my first day back actually in the office. It's Sunday. I've just got off a plane actually about 6-7 hours ago, and I'm here because, well, I'm checking on what's been going on whilst I'm away, and also filming a pitch update, which you'll see in a couple of days' time. But first of all, I'm going to talk to you today about a car that I won online, a car that I've taken a bit of a gamble on, because again, it's one of my impulsive online purchases. I basically visited an online auction over my breakfast one morning in the Canary Islands and bought a few cars. Now, that's nothing unusual, but this one is a car that I've never bought before, and it is rather odd, because if I told you that I have bought, actually for quite a decent price to be fair, a low mileage, rear wheel drive, rear engined hatchback, you're probably thinking, what on earth have you bought? And no, it's not a Vauxhall Chevette. Yes, this is actually a modern car that I've bought, a very modern car, small, cheap to run, rear-wheel drive, rear-engine hatchback, and it is now here on site. So let me go grab the keys and show you what I have bought. Ta-da! I give you my rear-wheel drive, rear-engine, small hatchback, a Renault Twingo, Mark III. Technically in the UK you call it Mark II, because the Mark I Twingo never actually made it on sale in the UK. It was a Continental car only. In fact, I saw lots of Mark I Twingos, as you can see here. It was quite a quirky design in the 90s. In Spain, there's loads of them still thundering around everywhere. Now, the Mark II Twingo, sorry, which we've got one over there, was quite a popular car, sold from around 2006-7 to about 2014. And then late 14, I think it was, onwards, we got the Mark III. Now, I'll be honest with you, this is technically not really a Renault as such. It's more a smart car with a sort of Renault badges and engines on stuff on it. Bear in mind that Mercedes, Benz and Renault have worked on quite a few projects over the year, shared engines and platforms, etc. And this is one of those examples of where they've used basically a smart car platform and they've made a Renault version of it and obviously the smart version. I'd argue to say actually that the Renault version is probably the one that's going to be more easy to sell as a dealer's perspective, because smart brand, if you've never owned a Smart, a lot of people don't know who they are even now. Probably going to be a bit more difficult to shift than, say, having a Renault badge on it. The reality is, Renault is more common. People obviously look at the Clios. This is probably similar size to one of the earlier Clios. The ones from the late 90s and early 2000s are sort of similar size now. So I'm hoping that the Renault badge is going to make it an easier thing to shift. Engine-wise, I'm pretty sure, although I'll have to double check this, they've used the same 900cc Renault engine that's used in the Dacia products and I say a lot of the Renaults as well. Although I could be standing corrected on that because they say they may have used a smart engine. I don't know. I'll have to look and see. It's probably a collaboration engine, I would imagine. I'll confirm it here where the engine has come from. Now, the first time I ever actually got one of these up in the air, I was a bit shocked because, well, actually the pre-check on MOT a few years ago on one, you'd have to check the oil level. And when we went to check the oil under the bonnet, there was no engine in it. And I thought, well, that's a bit odd. And then actually, when I got it underneath, I worked out that it was in the boot. It's actually on the floor underneath, as I'll show you in a minute. And so if you've never driven one of these, it's actually really quirky because, say, they're quite a little boxy car, quite nippy actually. I say I've driven quite a few of them, and it's a bit fun to drive with it being rear-wheel drive. You'd have to go back a fair few years to find a small hatchback that was rear-wheel drive, probably go back to the early 80s. But look at it, it doesn't look a bad thing. Nice little trims on it, it's got the little spats on the side, a little Twingo as well on it. It's quite good. I think it's a nice looking car, even in red, which is probably not the best of colours. Definitely want to polish up. Got the spots on the front as well. I always think it's a nice thing. I think it's certainly a smarter car than the Smart. Let's have a look inside. Got the old typical Renault key, the old Twingo key. 5-speed manuals. Nice interior. It's got like a sort of a retro feel to it. Very simplistic. Got your stereo on the dash there. Little white plastics in it. It's all right. It's quite spacious. It's got quite tall as well. It's got quite a bit of room in it. So it definitely wants a valet. It's literally, I think my colleagues just give it a very, very, very quick hoover out and just parked it up, ready for my inspection. Little funny handles on it as well there for pulling the door shut. Let's fire it up anyway. It's done 56,000 miles. Just actually just noticed the fuse box cover there is missing. Is that what the OBD port is? No, it's not. Don't know why that's missing. Probably someone's changed the fuse one put upon a time and not put it back. We'll have to order one of them. Fired up, never in doubt. Quickly show you in the boot. There we go, there's the boot area. Not massively big loading area. And it's quite high as well, obviously, because you've got the engine underneath. There is your sort of access panel. You have to take all these little well, twiddly things out, and then you'll get the floor pan up itself, and then you can actually get to the engine. The easy way to show you is just probably just go underneath, to be honest. Ugh. My knees. Oh God. I was lying on a beach the other day. There she is. The old engine. Look at that there. Rear wheel drive. It's quite clean under there. Expecting to see some oil leaks and stuff, but no, it's actually rather nice. Big floor pan as well. Look at that aerodynamics. Got a great big floor pan going all the way to the front. I'm just looking as well, actually. All the tyres are in good nick. Oh. Right, anyway. Probably wondering then what is actually under the bonnet and how do you gain access to it? Well, first time I had one of these in for MOT, my word, it took me about half an hour to figure out where it was. Because usually we'll go in the car and you'd be pulling down the footwell here looking for a handle, or the passenger side, forget it. It's nothing like that at all. Basically, to get into your bonnet, where your reservoir is, and other little bits and bobs, you've got to move these grills out. So literally you do is a little slot here. You pull that, it comes out. You pull this one, it comes out under the arm. And you can see there you've got a key where you can lock it off. Now this one, you just pull that one there. These ones are already unlocked. Pull that one there, and the bonnet moves. And then you pull this back. You can actually, oh, not pull that one further enough. There we go. You can lift the bonnet up. There we go, pull it back for you. It's actually on a strap where you can release it, but we shan't bother doing that. But basically, underneath there, you've got obviously your radiators, your brake reservoir, and obviously your coolant, and your screen wash. So you can just gain access to it. It looks a faff, but in reality, I mean, this is plastic, dead light. It just pulls forward. If you just want access to stuff, you can actually get access to it quite easily. And if you wanted to just pull the strap off, you can actually remove the entire bonnet off. And like I said, this is plastic, so it's light as a feather. There you are. That is the quirkiness of these cars. Put that back there. Slot that in, and then you just move your handles back. And there you go. Straightforward enough. But remember, put your grills back though, because these are about 30-40 quid a piece to buy on eBay. And they just go back in there. There's one. And two. Sorted. So anyway, it's not a bad purchase on the face of it so far, other than needing a bit of a valet and a polish up, and the low mileage, decent history. For what I've paid for it, which was, I say, was a shade over a few grand, a bit of fees on top, etc. I'm quite pleased with it. But there's one important thing we've not tested out, which is how does it drive? I've driven a few of these before, so I know what I'm expecting. Make sure it's running properly, all the gears are good, we haven't got any clutch problems or gearbox problems or knocks or bangs. So let's rig up the camera and go out for a drive. Right, so whilst I'm rigging up the camera and getting the tray plates in the old Twingo, let me talk to you very quickly about the raffle, because we've got, what, less than a week to go, I think now, until the raffle concludes. The 30th of June is when the raffle concludes for the Mark 1 Ford Fiesta. The stunning out-the-box example could be yours for just £2. It is a near pristine example and a car that's not only a practical classic, but a vehicle that is going to be going up in value. The old Fords are doing stupid money at the moment, and we paid a king shilling for this one, and I know in a few years' time, this car will be worth a lot more than what even I paid for it if you keep it in good nick. So not only are you getting that fantastic vehicle, you're actually getting an investment on the back of it too. Plus, I've also upped the prize money as well. So maybe you're thinking, Lee, I don't want the actual car, I just want the ruck of cash. Well, don't worry, because now the prize money has gone from £3,000 to £4,000. So say if you don't want the car, you can just take £4,000. So even more reasons to get involved. Ticket bundles are now back on sale as well, so you can get a hold of those. You can get yourself even more free tickets. Just £2 to buy one ticket, but if you buy more tickets, you get additional free tickets. And also, don't forget, we also help out charity on the back of it. Thousands of pounds already gone out to charities this year, local and national. This time round, we are helping out Hopes and Beans and our good friends at Northwest Air Ambulance Service. So make sure you get involved, link is into the screen, or use that QR code above. Right, let's get ourselves belted up and back in the Twingo. Right, off we go in the old Renault Twingo. Shoot off into first, straight away. I'm pleased because we've got a clutch bite, a decent clutch bite. Thank God for that. I've been sick to death of buying cars lately that need clutches, but this is not one of them. Got into third gear now, nearly up to about 30 mile an hour, no problems there. Nice gear change on it. Engine's pulling well as well, which is good news. And one thing I do like about these is the engine being at the back, you've got not as much vibration that you would usually get from a 3-cylinder engine. 3-cylinder engines are, well, just unbalanced by their nature. So they're not as refined as a 4-cylinder or a 6-cylinder engine. So they do sort of rattle around a bit and you feel it in vibrations in the cab. But because it's being stuck out the back there, it just doesn't feel the same as like you would get in a Igo or a Corsa, where you can sort of feel that sort of natural vibration of a 3-cylinder engine. It's quite nice to drive this as well, throw it in the corners like that, and you say you've got like sort of almost go-karty performance, that little peppy engine in there. Obviously don't try and overdo it being rear-wheel drive, because you could find yourself on the wrong way of a roundabout. But it genuinely is a really nice drive, and I have to say, so far, I haven't found anything wrong with this. No brake issues, I've got no clunks, I've got no knocks, I've got no bangs, the engine's pulling well, even the aircon's working. This could be one of those cars that reality needs barely anything, which is extremely rare, extremely rare. So far on my job card list, and bear in mind I haven't had it in the air yet and PDI'd it, but so far, all I found wrong with it is we need a cover for the fuse box holder, that's it. But this doesn't look like an abused example. With 56,000 miles on, I was taking a gamble really at the auction, because say I don't know too much about these. I've driven a few of them, but I've never really worked on many of them, sort of mechanicals. Just nearly been wiped out there by a lady in a Kia Picanto. I just had that niggle and worry, but now I've got none of that at all. I'm absolutely relieved. This is actually looks like it's been a probably well looked after car, and it's a genuine part exchange, which is quite rare, because most of the time when people put stuff in auctions, it's usually because there's something broke on it or it's becoming expensive to fix, and you're going to have to just throw lots of money at it. But today, I don't think that's the case. Well, that drove exceptional. Really pleased with that. And it gets better as well, because I've also noticed the old service book here. And by the way, that's always a good sign. You know, when you see things like radio codes and tyre pressures written on the front of the manual, it means someone has taken the time to do that, a little bit of care and attention taken. This has got full service history, but full Renault service history as well. It's been Renault all its life. Now, it's actually due service again now, but obviously we'll do that as itself in-house. There's another good thing, it's been the main agents. You know, someone's not scrimped on it, they've taken it to the main agents, had it serviced there. You know, obviously standard OE parts fitted. Good little sign that. It'll help sell the car. There really is very little to do on this. I mean, as I said, there's a bit of plastic trim missing there. It wants to clean and polish up. If you're being really picky, there's a tiny bit of wear on some of the buttons here on the stereo, but it is what it is. It's an old car. If we can try and get them fixed or some covers for them, we will. But, I mean, I'm not going to lose sleep over that. It is an old car, and it's just a cheapie. But it's got decent history, low mileage, it's driving perfect. Cheap tax, cheap insurance, practical little 4-door super mini, cheap to run. What's not to like about it? I've definitely done all right with this one. Took a gamble, and it's paid off. And if we sell it for what I've got it up for, which is, well, going up for 3,995, which I've price checked on Auto Trader, it actually suggests slightly more than that. It was about coming up at 42.95 with this mileage. But I thought, no, we'll stick it at 3,995, because the one negative to this car is the colour. I don't actually dislike red, I quite like red, but as a colour for selling cars, it's not the number one colour, should we say. Red and greens can always be a little bit tricky, and yellows as well. You know, people like blacks and silvers and white. White used to be a terrible colour, but white has made a bit of a comeback over the last decade or so. So that will hinder it slightly being red, but we always sell everything in the end. So I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to sell this pretty quick. Type of buyer, who knows? Maybe it's a female buyer, I would say, probably. Most likely first-time driver car, or maybe just an additional car. You know, anyone really, it's just a cheap runaround. I mean, these cars, sub 2017, these cheap road tax, cheap-to-run vehicles, are fading away, because I say after 2017 there is no more cheap road tax cars. So you've only got like a short window between 5 or 6 years where you've got these small cars with a £20, £30 road tax that are economical and cheap to run. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this little Mark III Twingo. What do you think about it? Would you buy one? Have you owned one? What was it like if you owned one? Let me know your thoughts in the comment. Would you buy one, consider one, or do you completely hate it? Do you not like the idea of it being rear-wheel drive? Maybe the bonnet would put you off, taking the bonnet off like that. I could see why someone might not like that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because, say, this is the first one I've ever sold here. This might be the first and the only time we ever sell one. If it's a slow seller, slow burner, you would say in the trade, you're not going to buy again. Is it going to be another Suzuki Celerio car, or will it fly out the door? So anyhow, let me know your thoughts and comments on the old Twingo. Right, roundup of what is coming up this week, and also some other news. So, we are going to auctions this week. I've got a commercial auction going to on Tuesday. Pitch update as well. I'm just about to record that in a minute. because I've got lots of new cars that have arrived. I've bought quite a few vehicles whilst I was on my holidays, and also underwritten a few other cars from dealers which have now arrived as well. So we'll do a full pitch update. That video will be out this week, and like I said, I'm going to another general sale later in the week as well, so hopefully she'll have plenty of auction content coming in the month of June and July. Thanks again, chaps. Don't forget to check out the update video in 48 hours time, and I'll see you all in the next one.